This episode of A Conversation with John Conenna is sponsored by Generate. In today's digital age, staying ahead means harnessing the power of generative AI. Wondering how your small or medium-sized business can join this revolution? Look no further than Generate, your strategic partner for integrating cutting-edge generative AI solutions. We create personalized plans, adapting existing AI technologies to fit your specific business needs. Plus, our expert team provides essential training, empowering you to make the most of these innovative technologies. Interested in transforming your business with AI? Reach out to us at generateteam@gmail.com. That's generate, GENERAIT, team@gmail.com. And now, on with the episode.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of A Conversation with John Conenna. Today, it brings me great pleasure, so I don't get the chance to get these great pleasures in the sense of bringing back people for part 2 of interviews, but this one I've been kind of following, and this lady needs no introduction. She is Jewell Hillery from WGN, and of course, Jewell got a unbelievable promotion in my eyes and in a lot of people's eyes this end of the summer when she was promoted to the weekend morning news, which she started this on September 14th, Saturdays and Sundays. A girl that I had said was a lady that I had said that was on the rise. And I have to ask you this, young lady, first of all, how you doing? And this is a long and coming since, let's say, that station WAPT, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm doing great. It's great to be back. It feels like I was just here with you yesterday.
Yeah, right. And I think it's a little bit over a year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And oh my gosh, yeah, WAPT, but no, I think going even further back to WTVO, Rockford, and just when it all really started back in college. So yes, it has been a long time coming. But it has been very rewarding. So yeah, happy to be here.
Jewell, I gotta ask you, as we had the interview first, and we had told the people, of course, you're a product of Chicago, the Von Steuben and everything, going to Champaign-Urbana here in Illinois. As you were going with WGN, I think it's since 2021, you've been with GN. Did you see, all of us as people, we always wonder, okay, am I doing it right? Do I got this? How was my last broadcast? How was the last thing that we did? Did you feel confident as you moved forward to now being the anchor?
I would say so. It was a pretty smooth transition coming into WGN. I mean, I definitely remember my first day on air and, having some natural anxiety, but not overly nervous or anything like that. But natural anxiety of like, okay, well, is my boss going to be, satisfied that he hired me? And how are people going to respond to, my work and being here? And so, after a few months when I realized, okay, I'm working hard and it's being recognized, I felt more comfortable in that sense and being like, okay, I fit in here. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And once I got full time, then that allowed me the opportunity to fill in anchor and, just help me to practice so that I can be where I am now.
Right. I mean, you're pretty well-rounded where, I guess, everybody goes through the situations of, hey, we got to be the reporter tonight, or I have to be the fill-in here and everything. And you can't, this is crazy what I'm going to say now is you can't say, well, no, I don't think I want to do that. That doesn't look good on the resume, correct? So were you always in this progression? Meaning you as the goal, we'll use the word the goal to finally, okay, I really would hope one day to be that anchor.
I think that has always been kind of a subconscious dream or goal. This might sound weird, but it's not like I've been, just waiting for that, for that opening to come and be like, okay, this is what I have to go after, if that makes any sense. Like I've been very content being in the spaces that I've been in, even when I was freelancing and my schedule was all over the place. I was just grateful to be in Chicago, working for, WGN, and
Right.
so yeah, it's been like I said, so I guess a subconscious goal, something that I've been like, okay, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I haven't been that person that's just like, okay, I'm checking in with all the anchors to see, okay, who might be retiring or,
Right,
who
right, yeah.
might be leaving sometime soon and be like, oh, I gotta get this spot. It's never been anything like that. I've just, I felt like when God's timing was right that it would happen. And so here we are.
Yeah, and you know what? A saying, of course, in my industry is all roads lead to Rome. In your sense, I like how you put it, meaning, you weren't posturing or positioning yourself that, oh, so and so is going to be retiring. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. I Your every assignment that you had, like I said, I'll go back to the word well-rounded. You were really always, ready to go. If it's 10 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning, I'm gonna maybe do the midday news with Mr. Lewis one Saturday because you were a fill and everything. There's where the well-roundedness and you really picked up, I'll use the word experience, correct, in all these facets.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You get a lot of experience. There's so much news happening and yeah, so definitely got my good share of experience working in all the different shifts for the most part.
As now, of course, I'll go back to this with GN to start. Are you reviewed as the reporter, as the beat reporter? Are you reviewed as the anchor? Are you reviewed on the assignment? Or you've done so many like little shows too and everything. Do you get reviewed for our audience to know, because you've gotten to a great level now?
When you say reviewed, what do you mean
I mean,
exactly?
are you in front of a panel of your let's say the people that are in charge of you and say, okay, Jewell, we you did it this way and we preferred you do it that way, or you did it so good, Jewell, you were spot on. Do you get reviewed with that where you know that, okay, they liked what they saw from a Jewell Hillery?
Well, I would say when I don't hear any news, that's typically good news. If I do hear something, that could be good, or I mean, I'm always open to feedback. So I
Right.
haven't heard anything, negative thus far from the powers that be. So I'll take that as
Yeah, the no news is good news.
yeah, I'll take that as a
But yeah,
positive. But
right,
yeah, I
exactly.
have shared with my news director that I'm always open to feedback. I know that I'm always wanting to grow and develop. This is in a sense, I don't want to say the beginning, but I still want to grow. I still want to mature
Exactly.
in this industry.
Yeah, and we'll talk about something about later on about the goal later. Do you feel being the anchor? Because I learned a lot from you from the last interview, and I've learned a lot from other reporters here in Chicago that I've talked to. Is it a huge difference in the sense of the workload being the reporter and now the anchor? Is it where you just put on this beautiful outfit and you're all looking good here and everything? Hi, I'm Jewell Hillery. We're going on at 1:05. You just read a script. That's not what it's all about, even being the anchor, correct?
There's so much that happens before, you know, we go live on air that is crucial to making sure that a live shot goes well or that a newscast goes well. It's different muscles, I guess you would say, when it comes to reporting
Sure.
and anchoring. The one way that someone who I look up to mentioned was that like when you're anchoring, it's like okay, you might have a sad story, then you're going to have a happy story, then you have to go to weather, then it's so many different personalities that have to come out of you back to back to back to back for 2 or 3 hours.
Sure.
Versus when you're a reporter on a story, the mood of the story, it's not really going to change, so you're just responsible for that one story per se. But there's work that goes into to both mediums. So I'm not sure if that answers the question or not, but
Yeah,
it's work either way. I would say that I like the mix of having the opportunity to anchor and report. I like being out in the field. I like going out and meeting
sure.
people, talking to people, and getting involved in the story and telling the story. But sometimes, that gets really draining on the body, back to back to back. So it's like, okay, I might get a from that, I'm like, okay, I can come into the studio and anchor. And that, in a sense, sometimes can be, I don't want to say more relaxing, but maybe not as stressful, depending
Stressful.
on what's going on. So yeah, I like a mix of both, if that answers the
Yeah, no,
question.
that's great. And listen, I kind of want to feed off that. Like over the years, I could still remember, me being a little bit older than you. I could still remember when a Walter Cronkite um, mentioned when John F. Kennedy was passed away in Dallas. Never forget that. Where I remember him taking off his glasses, and
Mhm.
here's this professional man at the time, Cronkite in '63, and it's emotional. You brought up something that really touches me because a lot of times, watching Mike Mazzara, Ray Cortopassi, here's a story that comes in. This happened on the North Side tonight. This happened and whatever, and it's an emotional story. Do you know how the body language comes into play? Correct.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you know how you have to almost adjust? Because now we're going from that to maybe saying, okay, let's go to Dimitri now and the weather. So do you kind of plan for that, knowing that before you go on that story?
I mean, in an ideal situation, I've read the scripts in advance and have an idea of what's happening next. But sometimes, if just being caught up in the moment, I might forget. Oh, okay, well, got a somber story now, and now I've got to, smile. And that actually happens, quite a bit, where we'll have something that's maybe something that we're laughing about, and then it's like the next story. It's like, okay, I gotta take my smile off because
Right. Yeah. Because
funny anymore.
that doesn't fit the mood of what's coming up. Yeah,
Hmm.
correct. Okay, great. No, because I always wondered about that because it just is that constant change. It's never this constant change. And we're seeing you, we're not hearing you. It's like on the radio. On the radio, you could never tell, but yeah, to see you is something else. The transition. And I mean, you anchored before you got this great promotion that you got here, the Saturday and Sunday morning news. Uh, I don't think I asked you in the last interview when we met about a year and a half ago. Is the transition tough? Meaning now you go from this, you're doing a report on Friday, and then all of a sudden you're told, "Hey, Jewell, you got to do the news with Jackie Bang tomorrow night. Be ready to go." How is that transition? Now you're just on the street, and now you're going to be in front of the audience. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? The transition
From
from
doing
going from
TV.
the reporter now to this anchor.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Something that my pastor often says is, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. If you stay prepared, you don't have to get prepared. So, I mean, I feel like, just the experience that I've had over the last several years and the opportunities that I've been given to fill in and to do other things as well have just kind of allowed me to make a smooth transition. It's a little bit different in the sense that, okay, so I'm anchoring with Sean, regularly now, and Tim
Sure.
Joyce, the meteorologist. So that helps in the sense of there's repetition and it's the same people, every weekend. And so we can kind of build a rapport and get to know one another um, and build relationships that way. But in terms of the work per se, yeah, it hasn't been too challenging. What I guess the biggest challenge is waking up at 3 in the
Yeah.
morning. Yeah, that's
That starts at 5 in the morning on Saturday, correct?
we start at 7, but I live not near the station, so I have a little ways to come in and got to do makeup and all of that. So there's so
Well,
much.
sure, sure, sure. And so it starts, it's of course and that's Saturday, and I think on Sunday it's an hour less, right? I think
Yeah.
Saturday we go a little bit longer with you. Yeah. But the situation becomes this, like that night before, you know, it's that Friday night, whatever you're doing, you're out, you're at home, whatever. I, Now for me, that's that Friday night. For me, if this is me, it's like yesterday for me, that Sunday, that anxiety builds that, oh boy, I got to go open up this office tomorrow and I know what's ahead. But, you know, are you already looking into the news on a Friday night that's out there and saying, okay, this
I
is
mean, I
going to be
try
coming up
to,
on, this is going to be coming up with me and Sean right now.
yeah, I definitely try to pay attention to what's happening on Friday night, so I have an idea of what we're going to follow up on, or what'll be, headlines on Saturday morning for sure. And most often when I'm like headed into work, like I said, I have a little bit of a commute, so I'll listen to the newscast, parts of it from the night before, look at other stations, listen to the radio, so
Right. So yeah,
fine.
and of course, then you have to be prepared as the anchor for the famous "this just in." You know that's scary for me all the time. This just in. Everybody kind of like turns and looks. You know, this just in. I mean, that is something, or like you told me before when we met on this interview process, you told me, "Hey, John, I might have to leave when you were just doing reporting because I might be getting a call, you know, to get out there." So how does it feel? Because we're coming up basically here today. When I look at this calendar, we're basically coming up on already. Jewell Hillery has been doing this for almost a month. When we
Mhm.
look at this calendar today, being October 7th.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel now that, you know, here it is, Saturday, Sunday, you're the anchor, and you're still, correct me if I'm wrong, you're able to be moved around a little bit still too, right?
In terms of when you say moved around.
Reporting,
Oh
uh,
yeah, I still
diversified
report.
again like you were before.
I still report. I do days now though, so I'm not on in the evenings anymore. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to time flies by, right? I was like, wow, I think this past weekend was the third or fourth
I'm
weekend.
talking week 3 because you started September 14th, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
we're,
yeah. So
yeah, before you know it, it's going to be Christmas over here.
I know.
So, yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. So, um, is it different knowing now that you have this full-time thing? You know, I call it a full-time thing, a commitment on a Saturday and a Sunday. And the reason why I use that word is I used to do a radio station for an Italian radio station, and I knew that every Sunday I had to be prepared for that 2-hour commitment on Sunday. And you're preparing. I mean, it becomes more of a where you can kind of zoom in on it a little bit better than where they're calling and say, okay, Jewell, be ready tomorrow. So and so can't make it in. Quarter posse sick.
Mhm,
Or we have a day off for Michael Matera.
mhm.
Knowing now, do you find yourself more regimented doing the Saturday and the Sunday?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm grateful for the consistency and just being able to I'm still learning the show. You know, where we have in place different segments, how the interviews go. So yeah, consistency is definitely key and appreciated so that I can, be better prepared in terms of, knowing who's coming on, what I should be asking in terms of the interviews and, that type of thing.
Nice, nice. And then, of course, you're still available, or they will use you for interview process. Like, say, of course, what we have coming up here now in about less than 1 month, the election process. I'm sure you know, that reminds me of someone who's in a restaurant and they say, "Don't think you're going to take Christmas Eve off. We're all working Christmas Eve night in a restaurant." And now, here in the sense of this election that's coming up, you are all have to be available. Is that how that works?
I mean, for the most part, yeah, all hands on deck. So I have, yes, made it known that if I am needed, count me in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're not gonna say no to that. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. No, no,
Yeah,
everyone knows. Yeah.
yeah,
Election
yeah.
night.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I don't see
Don't,
you being the type of saying,
don't plan a vacation. I mean, it's during sweeps
right,
anyway. So
exactly. Yeah.
can't do that.
No,
But
oh, no, for sure, for sure. I'll use this. What has been, even though, when did you know it was coming that, did you know it was coming, or was it the element of surprise that you got the weekend anchor?
Well, no, I mean, I knew about it a couple of, I don't know, maybe a week or so before it was actually announced. Wasn't able to say anything to folks, but yeah, it was maybe about a month or so in terms of, you know, um, sharing my interest with my news director and then going through the process.
Wow. I mean, and what a process that had to have been. I mean, for you, it had to be what a thrill to know that you were going to be a step. Was Mr. Lewis always on the show? Was Sean always on there?
Yeah, he is the inaugural, I think that's the right word, the inaugural anchor. He started it back in, I think, 2007,
Okay.
I want to
Yeah.
say, or maybe 2009.
You know,
But 15 years. I know he's been on the show for 15 years. And as it's grown, he's, gotten co-anchors. So
I watched where I thought I saw him on Sundays, but I thought maybe he was more the part timer. But then again, until you came out to the scene, I says, okay, this is a great combo. Looking at that, and of course, you've been the fill-in anchor at times. Do you feel it's early on, of course, it's early on. Do you feel a good chemistry with Sean Lewis?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has he's such and I say this in the most wonderful way, and I would say this to him, he's a big goofball, and he makes you feel really comfortable. So I'm like, yeah, no, I feel completely comfortable anchoring with him and working with him. But he's a goofball, but he's competent, like he knows his stuff. So he can go from, you know, having all the jokes in the world and then be like, okay, no, the script is, we need to make the script accurate. Something's wrong with it. We need to go on and obviously be competent in what we're sharing and telling. So no, it's a great team.
It's a great mix. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you because I love the way one thing that attracted me to how your style was how you treat your social media. Like, I like when you do that snippet just before you're going to go on. Like, hey, me and Sean's going to be late, but he's coming in the studio. I mean, I watch all that. I think that's just a great thing to get it started. Are you told to do that, or is that the Jewell Hillery idea?
I'm not gonna lie, I've seen other people do it, so I'm like, oh, well, that's
Right.
smart. That reels me in.
Right.
And so yeah, it's not a requirement or anything like that, but I'm trying to do better with social media and branding myself and
You
and
do
that type
great. Yeah.
of branding the show. So yeah, just
The-
kind of taking some hints from others that are doing really well in that way in terms of the social media presence.
Yeah, fantastic. Jewel, I'm
Mm.
going to ask you something here. How important is it? Because over the years in anything, like if it's radio or if it's, of course, I know we live in a great market, Chicago, for the news. How big is something that starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, the news? And there's a lot of things going on, a lot of channels. Of course, let's forget about channels. We have streams now. We have our friend here that's streaming everything from left to right and everything else. How big are the ratings for, let's say, this hour of the morning? Are they looking at ratings at 9 o'clock at night when everybody's on, or are they still looking at ratings on Saturday and Sunday? Okay, Jules is going up against the person on Channel 5. Sean and Jules are going up the guy on 7. They got this kind of a show. We got CNN reporting this. Are the ratings huge?
That's a great question. I need to do more, digging into that. I know that the ratings are reported, for sure, but I don't know exactly. I don't know what they are.
Right,
So,
right.
but
No,
I
but
believe they're big. I believe
yeah.
they're huge.
And you know
Yeah.
what? I wasn't looking for the answer of ratings. I was just looking. Do you think they're zeroing in? I mean, it's like my dad used to say to me, listen, he goes, get your act together. Every day's a Monday. He goes, your Saturday here could be a Monday. Sunday could be here. It could be, it's a Monday. Take the attitude of every day is something. But I mean, now we have so much
Yeah.
channels of
Yeah.
information. Are
Competition.
they must look at the ratings of like, okay, how the way a Sean and a Jewel deliver this news. I mean, okay, eventually they may be 1 month, 2 months down the road. Wow, we got some really, the viewers. I don't know. This is an old world, the old word. The Nielsen ratings were the thing of the past, where there was a share of this and a share of that. But there's a certain audience that's going to be watching that Saturday and Sunday news, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And not only the people that like your delivery or the people that like Sean's delivery. Yeah. So, all right, we're going to wind this down a little bit because I know your time is valuable, but I got to ask you something. What do you think now, being in there kind of entrenched? Now we're going on year 4 with you here in 2025, being part of WGN. What's the more comfortable for a Jewell Hillery? Is it being the reporter, or is it now being this anchor? I mean, do you have a comfort zone or no? Or do you like the one-on-one interviews that you do? What's your favorite?
I have reported the most, so I would say that's where I feel most comfortable. But the more that I anchor and do it regularly, I hope to become as comfortable anchoring as I am reporting as well. So
Yeah, no, but that's great to know, because I mean, I think you answered it perfectly, because the reporting, with reporting, it's a different situation all the time, where the anchoring could be a little bit more scripted, where you know what it's going to happen, but the reporting really brings out the experience in you.
and I'm grateful that I am as comfortable as I am with Sean, because I mean that really plays so much into it. And the fact that I have a co-anchor. When I anchored in the past in other markets, I was a solo anchor. And so it's hard to, really exude a whole lot of personality when you're by yourself. But when you have somebody, next to you, it
Yeah.
helps to, you bounce off of each other. And yeah.
And
so.
you know what's great is, just like the fill-in in sports, or the backup player in sports. I mean, you've anchored with a lot of different people before this, so you're right. I mean, and especially when you're thrown into it. Have you been ever thrown into it a day before, where you says, okay, you got to do this with Cortopazzi tomorrow night because so-and-so's not here? Have you known like 24 hours before that this is what's happened? I mean, both.
I've had less time.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
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 Had the day of, before.
Wow.
And I guess one of the situations this summer that I knew that I was going to be anchoring, but no one knew that President Biden was going to drop out the race on this day. And so that was a day where I was like, oh my gosh, of all the days I would be filling in on this day. But I mean, it showed me that I can handle, breaking news. And I'm so grateful that I was anchoring with Taman, who is our political
Yes.
reporter and anchor and expert. So, I mean, he helped guide me through as well. But yeah, sometimes you just get thrown right in. And sometimes that's the best way, honestly, because you don't have time to, react too much. You just have to be like, okay.
Yeah, that spontaneity of, okay, let's do this, right? Instead of mulling it over and thinking about it for that,
Yeah.
that day. But what a topic, because here, the president of the United States is dropping out of the race. I felt that went on for 3 solid days with every market that I saw. I got to tell you, I don't know what it is, but your presence is unbelievable. I mean, the way you present yourself, your look, the dress, everything. How important does that come into play with your peers, your bosses, and everything else? Is it something that again, you do your own thing, or are you told we have to dress a certain way, a corporate way, because the presence is fantastic?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I thank my family, my mom and
Okay.
grandmas who were, fashion forward, and I've always been taught that a first impression is everything, and you want to present yourself as not necessarily the job that you have, but the job that you want. So yeah, I mean, TV is a visual medium. There's
Right.
no there's no way around it, and so I just
Yeah.
try to put myself together.
Yeah,
the
I think
best way I can.
the great Diana Ross once had a song with the Supreme, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy clothing and
Yeah,
fashion. And,
you wear it well. You wear it well. You wear it
thank
well.
you.
All right, I'm going to leave you one thing I wanted to say about you. Really appreciate you coming, and this has been a thrill for me, especially you just got it 3 weeks ago, and to do another interview with this close. I love always talking to you, and want to really congratulate you. I'm going to get this out to our audience really quick, but there's something that we were talking about in the interview about like, are you reviewed? Are you this? Are you that? Well, I went into that question, but I really didn't have to give you that question because it was right here in my notes. I don't think they're going to review you. This is coming from somebody here at WGN that said something about you, which is fantastic. Jewell is an exemplary journalist, storyteller, and most of all, a great team player. And that comes from, I think, a countryman of mine, Dominic Stassi, the WGN news director. So that is a fantastic compliment. And I knew that all along from day one. I did brag about it to my family that I says, one day Jewell Hillery is going to be an anchor. And I was just telling my wife the other day, I have a chance to interview Jewell again. And this was an honor to have you back on. And I'm going to ask you one of the 5 questions because I'm going to give you another chance, just one. Because last time we laughed about it.
Okay.
What's that favorite movie again? Is it still Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Well, yes, but Sean asked me this on my first day, what one of my favorite movies was, and I said A League of Their Own. So that's another.
Okay.
So, I like movies from the 90s and the 80s that just make you feel good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd go with, both of those. I'm not a huge movie person, so
Right.
just bring off the top of my head like that. But yeah, old movies, Fried Green Tomatoes. I mean, just
Yeah, right. So no, but I remember that answer. We were
classics.
both laughing about it. Listen, young lady, you keep doing what you're doing. This is fantastic. And
Thank you.
what's it? I know that the future continues to look bright, and I think just keep that foot on that gas pedal because you've done a tremendous job. And just want you to know, constantly watching you, and just fantastic news to hear this. And congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your support and having me back on. And yeah, just truly honored to be here with you again.
Okay,
So
thank you, honey. Thank you. All right, we've been visiting with Jewell Hillery. Catch her on Saturday and Sunday mornings on the WGN morning news. You won't be disappointed. It's just been a great run for her, and I think things will only get better. And again, Jules, that starts on Saturday, 7 to 10 in the morning with you and Sean Lewis, and 7 to 9 on Sundays. And you'll catch her doing reports, a lot of different interviews and shows. Jewell Hillery, thank you, and have a good day.
Oh, thank you so much, John. I appreciate you.
All right, honey. Talk soon.
Bye.
Available now at Amazon and everywhere books are sold online. Siciliana. Siciliana is a captivating novel that embodies the ferocity of a woman wronged while contemplating complex questions of home and country. This thrilling story of a 13th century Sicilian revolution will dazzle fans of historical fiction. You will find much here to relish, tremble at, and in the end, cheer. Purchase your copy today.